drops properly, but
I think
closing in time isn't a problem.
Yeah. I think that Tim Pasowski is going to win the Call Mirror.
I mean, it's close. I think it depends on how the players play more than anything else.
That's probably very true.
But on list exactly, I think Timothy is probably favorite.
In Steel versus Vampires, as much as I want to say Steel is good enough to win, but the Vampires deck has a significant edge on that deck in the post board.
Okay.
And then Temper Steel versus Pure Steel, we've seen that before. It's just all a matter of who has the best hands, I think.
Yeah. So should be pretty interesting to try out. I know in block, Pure Steel deck beat the Tempered Steel deck, but you said now that we're out of block, things change.
Things are definitely different nowadays. The Pure Steel deck's a lot more of the one-trick deck than the Temper Steel deck is, whereas the Temper Steel deck only at Pure Steel, or Temper Steel, block the Pure Steel deck could rely on Hero and Pure Steel Paladin, all sorts of stuff, whereas the Temper Steel deck wasn't really super reliable against, you could get Hero, but it wasn't the best, and the Pure Steel deck was fine at stopping all the plays.
Yeah, so should be interesting to see how this top 8 plays out. Once again, it's great to have a nice, refreshing top 8 decks.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are the double Cobblade decks, but they're really nothing like before. They're nowhere near as impressive.
They're a lot closer to Kibler's deck from Worlds than anything we've seen since.
Kago, they're like a natural evolution of Kago. Yeah, you got some swords thrown in there, but the blade is more of a blade. It's no more batter,
Yeah. Oh gosh, that card.
Although we did watch Edgar Flores play Batter Skull earlier today, or at least I watched when I walked over and watched him that game, which is kind of cute.
I missed that.
Apparently.
Foil Batter Skull, obviously.
Foil Batter Skull. I mean, I don't know if he had any foil Baneslayer Angel, so you had to do it the hard way.
Yep.
But yeah, so we should be going into top 8 any moment now, and this is gonna be a fun top 8 to watch.
Definitely
so
is.
Who's your pick to win? So let's assume that Blue Red Twin wins here in the Jund versus Blue Red Twin match, and then Cobble's gonna win there. So who wins Blue Red Twin versus Cobb?
It really depends on list. I feel like the Twin deck's probably a little bit ahead. It just has a bit more inevitability, and the Call deck doesn't really have the best clock. And there's disruption in the Call deck, but I don't know if there's necessarily enough that goes on. Like, you need preemptive and on-time disruption or a good clock, I think. You need to have, like, 2 or 3, like, you need to have, your Torpor Orb and your aggro start like the Tempered Steel deck had. You need to have, your Torpor Orb and your Dismembers and just force this, force them to waste their fight on your in-play cards, or like a spell I'm saying. You have to waste all of their mana on those and have the counter spells for the removal, or you have to have a clock and the removal to back it up. You have to have 2 out of 3, and even then it might not be enough.
Right. So you feel like maybe Twin will advance in that match?
Yeah, I think a little bit.
All right, so then we have the Twin Ascension combo going to the finals, potentially. Obviously, this could all change. The Jund deck could maybe beat the Twin deck with a good draw.
And the Callblade deck could easily beat the Twin deck with, a Feast and Famine Spell Pierce draw.
On the other half of the bracket, so you think that Vampire's advantage against Tempered Steel after sideboarding?
Yeah.
It seems like they have quite a bit of hate for them.
Yeah, and I think that Tempered Steel is a bit advantage versus Pure Steel. So
okay.
I think that Vampires might win this, but I think Vampires is probably a little bit advantage versus Twin. They have the clock and the removal, and the discard. Or his list is not of the discard, unlike most.
So those are certainly some early front runners, but of course, all these decks are so explosive, right? Pure Steel Paladin gets a good draw, they'll just crush you.
If a Tempered Steel deck gets through this Vampires deck, I think that deck's just going to win the event, not even close. That deck means it, and the only deck in the top 8 that actually means it back is the Vampires deck.
Yeah, we could very easily have a Tempered Steel versus Tempered Steel semifinals as well.
Yeah.
Depending on how that bracket goes.
Right.
So it'd be pretty interesting to check out. These deck lists should be online soon. So just keep refreshing starts to the games compulsively, F5 as much as you can, and you'll find them on the coverage site not too long from now, as well as all of the top 16 deck lists for that matter. So we can talk some pretty cool decks played in this event, and there's 8 more decks on top of these 8 you can check out the list of. So,
I believe there's at least one more Tempered Steel and another Pure Steel in the top 8.
Another Tempered Steel and Pure Steel in the top 16. Wow, yeah.
Though there may have been an issue with one of those players being... I heard some rumors about some players marking drop on their last round match slip.
Yeah,
not showing up on the final standings.
So
lesson of the day.
Yeah. So 2 players in the last round decided to mark drop. Both of them were in contention for top 16. Turns out when you mark drop, you get dropped, even if it is the last round. So I do not recommend doing this. I'm not sure what ended up happening to those players. They argued for a long time, and eventually there was a decision reached, and it was a super ridiculous situation. Basically, this ever happened. Why would you do that? I'm gonna make top 16. Let's mark drop. I don't know if the players made it or not.
I believe their exact words: "We were being idiots and joking around."
Yeah. So, they repented. We'll see if it paid off. But so stay tuned to the top 16 deck list, and you can kind of see what'll be in there. But maybe those guys will be in it, maybe they won't. Regardless, next time you're at one of these events, please don't mark drop unless you actually mean to drop.
Especially if you think you're gonna win and get prize immediately after dropping.
Yeah, that's just good for nobody. And you look up to the top 16, you end up with this top 8. It's going to end up with one winner. We're going to play the quarterfinals today. We're going to play the semifinals tomorrow morning, starting at 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. sharp Eastern time. So 5 o'clock on the West Coast, where I live. If you live on New York or perhaps Cincinnati and are not here for some reason, check it out at 8 o'clock. And we'll bring you live coverage of the top 8. Immediately following the top 8, we'll start up into the Legacy portion of this event. Legacy is so exciting. Never know what's going to show up on Sunday.
Actually, anything and everything has. Recent ones we've seen, everything from Storm to Reanimator to Hive Mind to Ooze combo show up in the top 16. We've seen Zoo. We've seen Bant lately. We've seen Blue White. We've seen everything.
Yeah, it's anybody's ball game in Legacy, and it just really comes down to what deck did you choose and how good of a player you are.
Yeah.
And you get to see different matchups pretty much every round. It's crazy what kind of decks are playable in that format.
Skill is huge in that format. You have to know your deck, and you have to have an idea of what's going on with the other deck. Otherwise, it's very easy to make one wrong decision and just get completely destroyed.
But this is now, and this is the quarterfinals of the Star City Games Open Series here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm Gavin Verhey. I'm joined here by Ari Lax, and we're about to watch the quarterfinals between a Jund deck and a blue-red Splinter Twin / Pyromancer Ascension deck. So here's how this is going down. Korey Fay is playing this really unique Jund deck. He's got Solemn Simulacrums, Lotus Cobras, Grim Lavamancers, Grave Titans, Phyrexian Revokers, Wormcoil Engines, some discards. He's got some mid-range fatties, some acceleration, some discard and Inquisition, the rest, Despise, Lightning Bolts. He also has 3 of a brand new Planeswalker, Garruk Primal Hunter.
And that's why his deck looked threat-light when we got the list. The list we were looking at did not have that card, and that makes everything different. That card is awesome.
We were talking about this card earlier, and basically my first reaction when I saw Garruk Primal Hunter was it was time to go play the Lotus Cobra slot games again. Because if you play Cobra on turn 2, turn 3 fetch land Garruk Primal Hunter, it's going to be so hard for any opponent to win that game.
You have a 4 loyalty Planeswalker out of Lightning Bolt range, you've got a 3/3, and you have a Lotus Cobra in play. That's very hard for someone to get back from.
And in just 2 turns, or a couple matter of turns, you're going to put a bunch of 6/6 worms onto the battlefield. It's going to be a rough time for your opponent. Notably for this matchup, Korey Fay has a Memoricide in his main deck, which could be important because his opponent, Jason Hager, a mastermind from Versus System and other card games, and had some magic success too, is playing blue-red Splinter Twin / Pyromancer Ascension.
Yeah. So looking at his list, it's just, like I said before, rock solid, just all 4s, 24 land, 4/4, 8/8. That's the mana base. He has Mana Leak, Gitaxian Probe, Preordain, Into the Royal, Ponder, Splinter Twin, Burst Lightning, Pyromancer Ascension, Deceiver Exarch. Those are his spells.
Yeah, it's just refined, and I think a lot of players might be a little dubious about the Pyromancer Ascension, but I'm interested to see how they play out in this matchup, because a lot of players are like, oh, I don't like the hybrid combo. I don't think that's necessary. We saw some players like Jerry Thompson and John Medina sideboarding it today. So maybe it's a legitimate main deck strategy. I think we're going to figure that out as we watch Jason play and see how good they are for him.
It's probably a perfectly fine tone. It's probably not necessarily a great combo piece, but you're perfectly fine Ascension, leveling it up, and then just all of a sudden, draw 2 off Preordain, see 8 cards off Ponder, Gitaxian Probe, you draw 2, Into the Royal, both are things that matter. Drawing 2 cards, obviously.
Yeah. Of course, on the other hand, Korey Fay's Jund deck is really unlike something we've seen. I mean, the closest thing might be Donnie Nolan's Jund deck. He played all the way back in Open Series Louisville, I believe.
That was a long time ago, yes.
It was quite a while ago. Might have been Atlanta even. It was quite a while. And this deck is much different. Unlike Donnie's, who when he had Titans and Abyssal Persecutors, this deck has some new threats. Like I said, Garruk Primal Hunter. That is a big deal.
Yeah. He's got some interesting cards inside. He's got a Kazul Tyrant of the Cliffs.
Oh, man.
That guy is a blast from the past.
This is the at least second time it's made top 8 of a Star City Open Series this year.
Azul?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
Jonathan Sukanik played that in his rug deck back in Jersey, Edison.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
He's got a couple more Memorial sites and surgical extraction on the board, more removal. He's pretty spiteful post-board, it looks like. He's got another duress.
Yeah.
I think I may have been wrong about my initial assessment. I think the jump player may have enough hate post-board.
Yeah, I really like Korey Faye's deck here. Of course, the thing about mid-range decks, you never know what half of your deck you're going to draw. So you draw the right half.
In this matchup, it kind of seems like all of the halves are the right. It's all removal. Great, I get to kill your combo. It's all discard. Great, I get to discard your combo. It's all beats. Great, I get to play a turn 3 Garrick.
Yes. Should be an exciting matchup. Exciting top 8 in general for this event, but especially an exciting matchup.
Yes.
What do you think that Korey Faye is going to be looking for in his opening hand here?
Lotus Cobra.
Lotus Cobra.
Other than the obvious, he probably wants Inquisition or Kozilek. And beyond that, he probably needs at least one more removal spell. But actually, without Lotus Cobra, it's going to get a little clunky for him.
Yeah, Lotus Cobra is what makes decks like this run a lot of the time. So you really need the you really need the Cobra to make the decks work. Obviously, this deck has other options. Solemn Simulacrum is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Well, Simulacrum involves tapping out 4 mana sorcery, and you could just die.
It's true. Against a deck like this, you have to be very, very careful. So it looks like the players have picked up their opening hands, and now, though, we're going to figure out what is going on.
If Korey's on the play, Jason really only has a couple answers to a Lotus Cobra early. So Jason leads on a Gitaxian Probe, paying the life. Sees Grim Lovemancer, Lotus Cobra, 5 lands, including a couple fetches and some Lava Claw Reaches.
So what do you think he's going to lay? He's going to go turn 1 Lavamancer, then turn 2 Cobra. Hopefully he's drawn a threat by then. I think that's his plan, right? Because 5 lands normally not what you're looking for, but
I think he might actually lead on a Lava Claw Reaches.
Lava Claw
Just
Reaches.
Get some power into play, use the Cobra mana.
I guess that Lavamancer's not really doing anything, right?
Yep. Jason ponders. Sees a Splinter Twin, a Into the Royal, and a land. Shuffles them away. Probably looking for an Exarch at this point.
So let's see what he pulls. Ponders always feels kind of like spinning the wheel. It's like, well, I could keep these 3 ones, or I could get anything. It's
Could
like
be a vote.
It's like the Jungle Weaver theory, right? Mystery box. You never know what you're going to find. Jason Hager peels Burst Light.
Looks like he already had the Splinter Twin. Korey leads on a Raging Ravine that he drew for the turn.
Oh, here we go. So that gives Jason still perfect information about the hand.
Yep. Looks like Jason also has a Halimar depth that he can play. But does not have a fetch line to shuffle with it. So we may be seeing him lead on a Gitaxian Probe here.
Halimar Depths.
Yes. He does have that Burst Lightning for the Cobra, which is huge right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Korey is banking on that Cobra to accelerate him to a threat he might draw.
Jason sees, I believe, it's either
Royal or Ponder.
It's 2 Into the Royal, I believe, but
yeah, I think it's 2
and
Into the Royal. All right.
And
Go for a probe or yep.
seems like he should sequence it the other way around so that he sees an extra
See an
card.
extra card. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Probe, seeing the same business.
Plenty of lands, Grim Lavamancer, and Lotus Cobra in Korey Faye's hand.
Korey draws. Plays Basic Swamp and Lotus Cobra.
Alright, so there's the Cobra, but now are we going to see a Burst Lightning out of Jason Hager?
Almost certainly.
I can't imagine you wouldn't. You have to kill that Cobra.
Letting Cobra live can never be a really great thing to do at this point.
There are fewer cards that I feel I kill on the spot. Like Birds of Paradise, Llanowar Elf, sometimes it's right to leave those guys alive. Lotus Cobra on turn 2, it's almost always correct to kill it immediately.
Oh yeah.
In any matchup, in any format.
That and Fauna Shaman are just always insta kills. So Korey's looking at a manland and a swamp. Probably going to play another manland after this Grim Lavamancer.
And there's the Lavamancer himself. Drops down Lava Cloud Reaches and passes back to Jason Hager. And this game is going pretty much exactly like Jason wants it to. Korey doesn't have a lot of action. He dealt with an early Cobra. And now Jason just gets to propel the game towards his end goal.
Just kind of sit there, dirtle around, find everything he needs.
Yep. And then when he's ready, he'll set it all up. Do you like that Jataxian Probe that he cast?
The second one?
The second one, yeah. Would you have held it until you were about to go off to make sure it was clear? Or
Possibly.
do you feel like you needed to dig there?
You probably needed to dig deeper, but I think like I said, I think he did that in the wrong order. I think he was supposed to probe then depths.
Right, yeah. I thought when he was going for depths, he was probably just not going to cast it and hold on to it and show some patience in using it, but that wasn't what he opted to do.
So I think Korey might serve in with this Lava Cloud Reach, just try and get some pressure down.
All right. Yeah, get in for maybe 3 between the Lavamancer and the Lava Cloud Reaches.
Lavamancer will probably get into the world if that happens, but it's 1 mana, not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, Jason's clearly just trying to decanter with the cards that he's looking for. Korey might also not be willing to attack with the Lavamancer because he doesn't want to run any Deceiver Exarch.
Yeah, there's a Phyrexian Revoker. It's going to name Deceiver Exarch probably.
Good one to name.
Jason looks like he's debating a mana leak on it maybe, but...
How often do you think a card like Pithy Needle names a card that doesn't actually have an activated ability?
More often than you'd think. Heartbeat of Spring? That was the classic.
Well, okay, with the intention of shutting it off. Because this is...
Not that often.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, with this... And so there's an End of the Royal on the Phyrexian Revoker. So it's correct to name Deceiver Exarch despite Exarch not actually having an activated ability itself.
At least until Splinter Twin hits it.
Right, until Splinter Twin hits it, which I think is really interesting.
That's another Into the Royal. Joined by a Scalding Tarn that he drew.
Scalding Tarn down for Jason Hager.
Passes back. I think he should have mana leaked that Revoker. He's going to have to deal with it at some point, and it lets him free up his Into the Royals just to bounce other stuff and draw cards.
Yeah, kind of like mana leaking that Revoker. Assuming that's what his last card is. I couldn't quite see it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. It is.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what Korey Fate chooses to do here. He's got plenty of land, so we know he can serve him with Raging Ravine if he wants, Lava Cloud Reaches, if that's what he's interested in doing.
Replaying that Revoker.
Replay the Revoker.
I feel like it's just going to get bounced again. He still has another Into the Royal after that happens, so...
But it's like a 4-mana remand.
Yeah.
Or something like that, except we can't recast it. And picks up the Revoker. Jason Hager draws a new card. Looks like
That's a
Pyromancer
Pyromancer.
Ascension.
That could change things.
Yeah, so now Jason's going to probably play the Ascension, and you can start leveling it up, and that'll find him pretty much perfectly exactly what he needs.
I don't know, though, if he can use that Into the Royal. He only has 1 left in his deck, and if he can't find that, he's stuck Burst Lightning him out, and he's already used one of those. So, this could be an interesting situation.
Where you mean he has to be able to kill the Revoker somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll just find a Burst Lightning, that might do it.
Yeah. I mean, drawing... You want to be able to kick up your Ascension.
Yeah.
But Into the Royal, on the flip side, Into the Royal is one of the cards you want to have active with the Ascension. So
yes.
There's not currently a mana leak in Jason Hager's graveyard, correct? So that will not...
There is not.
Yeah, that will not help out. Interesting.
This might be Manland time soon, but we'll see.
Broker comes down again. Looks like Jason Hager is letting it resolve. And name Deceiver Exarch, certainly. And Korey Fate drops another Lava Cloud Reaches. Now Jason has to decide, does he want to go for that Into the Royal? How far does he want to deep?
I think with the Burst Lightnings he does. I'm just used to looking at these twin lists without any way to do it with a permanent other than Into the Royal. That's what we've been seeing pretty much all day is just, twin, no bolts, no burst, just Into the Royal is their answer. And that and Mana Leak.
Yeah, so he'll have 4 more answers left in his deck, Burst Lightning and Into the Royal. And it's worth noting that if Jason finds another way to kick up his Ascension, then he can double mana leak the Phyrexian Revoker on its way back down, which will counter it.
That is true.
And that makes a huge difference.
He does have 2 draw steps to hit, and I think he's used a Ponder.
I believe he's used a Pondered. No preordains, but he's pondered.
Shuffle that one away.
And he's going to kick up the
Ascension to 1.
Ascension to 1. Getting close to ascending. Alright, so that goes back, picks up a new card. Didn't quite catch what it was. Is that Splinter Twin?
Yep, just another one.
Or a mountain? It might have just been a mountain. Either way,
Not what he was looking for.
not what he's looking for. Yeah, he just has to pass back. Plenty of lands, not enough action. Now, if Jason ever just found a Deceiver Exarch, he could also just kill him with the combo.
I mean, that assumes that Phyrexian Revoker doesn't just get back into
Right,
play,
as long as Revoker's in the back in play.
which is likely the next step.
But those Into the Rose have done a pretty good job time-walking Korey every turn.
Lavamancer has not been getting in there a lot.
No.
Just the Sphere Deceiver Exarch.
I'm really concerned about the Deceiver Exarch. So Despise, I think you just let that resolve. I don't think there are any creatures hiding in Jason Hager's hand.
There is nothing to hit. Still have all this nothing.
Alright, Twin Mountain Mana Leak. So Korey knows what's going on over there now. I think Korey has a Grave Titan in his hand.
Ah.
So that's good to know for the future.
Yeah, so he doesn't run it right into that mana leak.
Right. And he also knows now that Grim Lavamancer is safe. He can serve the Lavamancer in and deal a couple points of damage here and there.
Yeah. If he has another line this turn, he can serve when that Lava Claw reaches too, getting a decent amount of damage.
He also doesn't have to recast the Phyrexian Revoker this turn, although it's worth noting that, once again, if Jason Hager draws a Ponder or something, he can kick that Ascension up and then Mana Leak may be able to counter
Right.
the Revoker. Let's see.
It's
How much?
probably worth it just
3,
for
4,
Revoker
5.
here. You're going to want your mana available on future turns, if not just because of Lava Claw reaches.
Right. Yep, and down comes the Revoker. You don't want to risk accidentally losing it.
No. There's too many things that can go wrong.
And you can still even activate Lava Claw Reaches this turn if you wanted.
Right.
And then serve in for 3.
4, yeah, 3.
With the Reaches plus the Grim Lavamancer. Alright,
Yep.
so Korey cracks both of his fetch lands, dropping to 17.
17 is important too, because if that Pyromancer's Ascension gets kicked up and 2 Burst Lightning's still out of lethal range.
Yep, that's only 16 damage. Although I agree with what you were saying earlier, that I think
He just fetched the wrong lands, I think.
I thought he had 2 Verdant Catacombs.
He just did not get a black source for that Lava Claw reaches.
Oh my.
Not activating it this turn.
Clearly he's got another course of play.
Nope. Missed 2 damage possibly?
Tax for 1 with the Grim Lavamancer. Did we miss a card in Korey's hand? Because there was something else he wants to do? Nope.
Nope.
I think he might have just accidentally missed 2
Jason
damage.
draws a mountain. Still not doing much.
Alright, so down comes that mountain, and Jason just has no action going on right now. He wants to get that Ascension online, he wants to find something, wants to find a Deceiver Exarch to block, and then it's doing what he wants. And now Korey can just start bringing the beat down with his manlands.
Yeah, he's actually getting pretty close to the point where that Grave Titan can just come through that mana leak without fear.
Yeah, that too. He's just 2 more lands off, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, he has 1 in his hand, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So he's going to tap 4 and probably Raging Ravine it up this turn.
Can't see what's in his hand. It all depends.
Yeah, and he activates the Ravine. And do you think you have the guts to serve with the Phyrexian Revoker here?
Yeah. He said 1 draw step, 4 outer.
Just serve with everybody?
Yeah.
I think it's right to serve with everybody, yeah. I like it. I think a lot of players would play scared right there, but I think it's correct.
Yeah.
If they drew it, I mean, they have you, but...
Yeah.
So 4, 5, 6, 7 drops Jason Hager to 9.
That's lethal on board next turn, actually. 2 off the Revoker, 2 off the Lavamancer, and 5 off the Ravine.
Alright, this could be it right here. Looks like Jason just drew another mountain.
Yeah. Not at all what he was looking for.
4. I mean, that's 9 lands in play for Jason Hager, plus another one in his hand. That's 10 lands total.
Yeah.
Not very many cantrips. Not very much of anything.
Yeah.
Let's see how Korey plays this turn. Maybe he's concerned about what's in Jason Hager's hand. So he's counting up his mana. Make sure he can do what he wants to do. Counting up his damage.
Making sure they get to 9.
Make sure he gets to 9, making sure that he can activate everything.
Yep.
Knowing if he needs to attack or not.
The other interesting thing was that it's possible that he should have left back the Lavamancer last turn. Not only because it's 1 damage, but if he plays the Exarch and blocks the Revoker, he kills the Exarch.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, if you're attacking with Revoker, you just figure, you know.
But it's basically a free roll. He has enough cards in graveyard that he can just shoot with Lavamancer on that stuff.
Sure. It's fair enough. But Korey takes the first game.
Yeah.
Jason Hager just had nothing going, and his next 3 cards were all action, of course.
Yeah.
As he picks them up. So looking at the sideboard here, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but let's look at the Jund deck first. Cards that'll come in Duress, certainly.
Yes.
How do you feel about Liliana Vest? Too slow?
I don't know. If you have all this hand destruction, it might actually be good enough.
Yeah, it seems like it might be a decent card, especially if you can search up Phyrexian Revokers.
You know, I didn't think about this before, but this Kazul Tyrant to the Cliffs might actually be good.
Oh, sure. If they go for the combo, it doesn't work.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's pretty cool. 5-minute answer is obviously a little slow, but
it's also a threat. It's probably better than this Wormcoil engine for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Than some of his big guys. Garrick, for example, I don't think is very good here either.
Probably not.
Go for the Throat comes in, Dismember comes in.
Morside. And Surgical Extraction for sure, especially with all the discard.
I mean, you know he's Ascension and Splinter Twin, so
yeah.
Extracting something out of his graveyard can be surprisingly relevant.
Oh, yeah.
So the question is, what do you take out? Because there's a lot of cards you want to bring in. You want to make sure you can still close the game on time. What are you cutting for all these cards? That's 1, 2,
you can cut Solemns
3,
and
4,
probably.
5. That's not like 9 cards.
You can cut Solemns probably. The Wormcoil engine. You might have a point. This might be too many cards.
I mean, I think you can probably cut Garrick if you want to.
You can cut Lightning Bolt.
Sure, Lightning Bolt's done very good. We cut 2 Lightning Bolts.
That's 7 right there. Like, get rid of 1 Garrick. That's only getting rid of 2 real threats. So that's 8 cards. You probably don't need all of the removal. I think the Go for the Throat doesn't have to come in.
Or like, how good is Grim Lavamancer?
That's also true.
Like, if you have 2 Lavamancers, it's very good.
Yeah.
If you only have 1, it's not that good at all.
Maybe that's just a 4-0 card. He has a lot of tools.
He has a lot of tools. It's going to be interesting to see what he chooses to use. I haven't really had a lot of experience with a deck like this recently in Standard, so it's hard to know exactly how I would sideboard, especially for this matchup. I feel Korey's probably played this matchup enough to know what he wants at every juncture.
Though the Ascension in the list might be a little different from what he's tested against, because most people have tested against the split, not both at the same time.
Yeah. On the other hand, we have Jason Hager. How do you think he would sideboard with this?
I think I would want to bring in... Leave it the same. Your cards are good as is. You don't really want Dismember. It only really hits Lotus Cobra. Pretty big because of the Lotus Cobras.
Yeah. Pretty interesting matchup. Yeah, this Jund deck is pretty neat. It's so mid-rangey, but we haven't really had something like this in Standard for a while.
No, we really have not.
It'd be cool to see if this takes off after this event. I remember after Donnie Nolan played his deck, I expected to see a lot more of it, and then we just never did. So, but Solemn Simulacrum is like a great card for this deck. Grim Lavamancer is a pretty neat card. I was actually surprised we haven't seen Grim Lavamancer show up in more control decks, because in Legacy, a lot of control decks use Grim Lavamancer to good effect.
It's not as much of a Visara as it is in that format, but it does its job pretty well.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. We'll see if maybe some of the Cobblade decks will start playing red for Grim Lavamancer, much like they used to play Cunning Spark Mage.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to splash.
So here we go. And speaking of Grim Lavamancer,
right there on the table.
There's a nice foily one.
Jason led on an island.
Yep, island. And looks like no turn 1 play from Jason, but he's got a turn 2 Pyromancer Ascension.
That can get active real fast. And Korey really doesn't have a way to kill that once it's in play, does he?
No, he does not have a good answer to Pyromancer Ascension in his whole deck, so that's certainly something that he has to be wary of. Although, I don't think Ascension is nearly as scary as the Splinter Twin combo.
Yeah,
and even though
just dying's worse than getting Pyromancer's Ascension over several turns.
And even if Jason's, it looks like Korey casts Duress, sees a hand of Deceiver, Exarch, Mana Leak, into the Royal, Mountain.
I think he takes Mana Leak here.
Likely takes the Mana Leak. Depending on what's in Korey's hand. I think Mana Leak's got to be right, though.
Yeah,
It'll just delay you too much.
It's the card that's probably going to interact the most. Into the Royal's cool, but taking the first one makes the Ascension get active faster.
Yeah.
And that Mana Leak's just going to be the biggest problem.
I agree with that. I would also take the Mana Leak here. And the way it works with Ascension is, even though... So, Jason has very few ways to win with Ascension. He's got 4 Burst Lightnings.
Right.
And so, assuming that he can't combo you out, he has to kill you with those Burst Lightnings, which gives you a ton of time. And if Korey is bringing in Memoricides and Surgical Extractions, he could very realistically just get rid of all of Jason's ways to win the game. All you have to do is get rid of either Deceiver, Exarch, or Splinter Twin. Then you essentially have a ton of time to find a way to deal with the Burst Lightnings.
Yeah. Probably Deceiver Exarch, it might just die to random 1/4 beats, but never going to die to Splinter Twin. That card cannot attack. Jason draws an island, I believe, and passes the turn.
Alright, so...
Deceiver Exarch up, into the Royal, unkicked up.
So Jason has some options for to cast this turn. He could kick and unkick into the Royal, but I doubt he'll do that. He could potentially play that Exarch and block, so Korey's not going to be attacking with that Lavamancer unless he's got a trick up his sleeve. Well, some might be worth pretending to go to combat to see if he'll blow it. But.
Surgical Extraction is also really nice as kind of an instant speed way to not get, like, they play a spell that's dual. You just want the Pyromancer's Ascension to not get off. Just Surgical Extraction in response, and it has a intervening if, I believe. No, it's not intervening.
It does not. So the weird thing about Pyromancer Ascension is it just triggers...
The other one has the intervening if.
Yeah.
Correct. My bad.
That was how you always beat Relic Representatives back in last year, because what would happen is you just play a bunch of spells in response to each other, and even if they kill your graveyard in response, the Ascension would still get the counters. Yeah. So you have to kind of preemptively Surgical Extract. You have to make a very careful extraction. Let's see, so Jason plays his 4th land, leaving up into the Royal, so he can cantrip a little bit, maybe work towards getting his Ascension online by having that second
Splinter Twins.
He also drew Splinter Twins.
So this game could be over almost immediately.
So, and Korey doesn't know about that. So if Jason drops the Deceiver Exarch, Duress. Well, that's going to pick apart Jason's hand.
I think you just have to let him see.
Yeah, we don't really have any options.
No need. Yeah.
And Splinter Twin is going away?
Not necessarily. Depends what's in Korey's hand.
Yeah, Splinter Twin goes away. I think especially because you want Splinter Twin in the graveyard so you could extract it.
Oh, that's true.
Like there are numerous reasons why I feel that's a strong play. But yeah, you could take Into the Royal, but I don't think that's good for the reasons previously discussed. And you can't take Deceiver Exarch. So taking the card that could just instantly kill you if Jason draws protection is,
I was thinking maybe if he has a bunch of removal, he wants to take the cards that can get him to whatever he needs that isn't that.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible. I always try and make plays like that, and then I just
lose because they just outdraw you?
Yeah, and then, they just draw their Mana Leak or Spell Pierce, go with it, and I'm like, man, why did I let them have their awesome card? So I just stopped doing that, and I find to win a lot more.
So that's a kicked into the Royal?
Okay, so no Exarch comes down to block, just kicks it, and Jason draws a card. I think it's that another Pyromancer.
Yes, it is.
That's what it looked like to me.
I guess I did forget in ways to kill. The 4 Burst Lightnings might be enough. You might only need 1 if you have multiple Pyromancers going on.
Oh, that's totally true.
Yeah.
But still, if you extract all the Burst Lightnings, those Pyromancer Ascensions can't kill. They're, I don't know, like Gardener Snakes or something.
Yeah.
So Jason plays his 2nd Ascension. Neither of them have any counters yet, so they'll be upping and ascending at the same time. Unlike Jund decks in the past, no Maelstrom Pulses exist here, so those Pyromancer Ascension are safe. Yeah, I can't quite get a good glimpse at Korey's hand, but he's got full grip there. Wonder what he's considering.
Possibly waiting until he gets to more mana to make some kind of relevant threat.
26 lands in his deck.
That is
7 of them fetch
just
land.
the Lavamancer again.
8 of them manlands. So he's got a full 8 manlands.
Yes.
Korey's not fooling around. He knows that manlands are key.
cracking the fetch for probably a forest.
And gets his land. And what's he gonna play down this turn? A Thron the last troll.
Sometimes you just gotta bring the beats. And that guy does it pretty well.
Sometimes you just gotta troll him. And yeah, Thron.
I think if you're Jason, you just have to play this Exarch here.
Yeah. I mean, because you could just win if you just draw a
Yeah.
Splinter Twin or a Ponder or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Can't mize if you don't try.
Yeah, can't mize if you don't try. You can only make the shots you take.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I think it's just right to cast it there.
Yeah.
He's tapped out. That's a Ponder.
What is it?
Pretty sure that was a Ponder.
Looked like a third into the roll to me, but
Oh, it might have been
let's
into the
see.
royal.
He flicked his cards.
If it was Ponder, he would have jammed it by now, right?
I think it's 2 into the roll. So
Oh man. Now that does level up both Pyromancer Ascensions.
Can draw a lot of cards, but that Thron, you know,
Oh yeah, that's.
you
another
gotta,
one.
yeah, you gotta deal with that clock right there.
So he's tapping 4. Gonna into the royal.
Grim Lavamancer, just
Okay.
draw the card, see what happens.
All right.
One counter on the Pyromancers.
All right, and leaves his Deceiver Exarch open to removal. All right, there's a Splinter, or not a Splinter Twin. There's a Scalding Turn.
Slightly worse.
Same initials, however, not the same card. And Jason has that other end of the well in his hand.
I think Korey's just gonna start beating down with that manland and Thron.
Yeah, I mean, so this guy's gonna do a ton of damage.
He might actually have to kill that Exarch first, but
Yeah.
it's about time for the beatdowns to happen.
Yeah, that wow. All right, Dismember. If that guy's going away, if you're Jason, do you have to into the royal it back, or do you want to hold on to it?
I think you're fine with that guy dying. Actually, you don't really have any other targets in play. That Lavamancer's probably not going to come down.
You don't want to bounce
Probably
your
just
own-
got to burn it.
Yeah.
And tap a Raging Ravine for a turn to chump a Thron. I think you just got to get those active and hope you draw cantrips out of this.
I think the way you're going to win this game is by finding the Splinter Twin. Because even if you ascend twice,
If you ascend twice, I think you can probably burst lightning him out.
15.
Korey Fate is at
maybe.
15.
If you draw perfectly, yeah. But if there's a clock that's dealing 8 damage a turn, that means Jason Hager has 2 turns left to live, or 3
It's not really
turns,
8
maybe.
damage a turn because of the Deceiver Exarch. And if he draws a cantrip, it's just, you know, oh, found another Deceiver Exarch. Oh, found another Deceiver Exarch.
Right. No, I feel that's why he needs to ascend and bounce the Exarch, because that's going to be his main route to winning this game. Is
Yeah.
like if he picks up the Exarch, draws a Ponder, could easily just find Splinter Twin,
Yeah.
right? And then maybe Korey just doesn't have another removal spell.
And maybe his triple Ponder finds him anything.
Right.
Mana Leaks, anything.
Basically, it's how good is the top of Jason's deck right now.
Yep.
All right, so Dismember.
Though Korey could just have, you know, a Duress or something to take that Exarch out and see where that goes.
Yeah, if he's got Inquisition or Despise, it'd be a big problem. Okay, so Korey just bashes it for 4, plays the land, cracks it.
Dash.
Getting
Oh,
his
just
fifth land. What is he going to cast for 5?
Garrick? Like
Maybe-
a Garrick?
Maybe he left them in him.
I think you'd leave a few in.
Time to go Primal.
Yeah. Draw 4 cards.
You could draw 4.
It's probably worse than just making a 3-3.
Yeah, you make
though.
it 3/3 this turn,
Yeah.
and draw 4 next turn,
Yeah.
probably, right?
No, you should probably make a 3-3 every time.
And yeah, there's
Yeah, there we go.
there's the brand new M12 rare, Garrick Primal Hunter.
Probably going to 4 counters, making a 3-3.
Yeah, it makes it 3/3.
Yeah.
And then next turn, I'm pretty sure you just want to draw 4 cards and try and find one more side of Surgical Extraction or something. Make sure you don't randomly lose. So Spell Pierce, that's going to be not great.
That's not what you were looking for.
Will do good work against Surgical Extraction and Morside, but that's pretty unimpressive. Yeah. Right now, when you're facing down 7 points of creature power plus a bunch of mana lands.
I mean, just a Ravine, but, you know, that alone is dead in 2 easily.
Let's see. Jason just doesn't have a lot of options right now.
Yeah.
While Korey has all the chips.
Generic beatdown. Sometimes
Inquisition.
that Spell Pierce does, in fact, counter it. A 1 mana counter target Inquisition.
Yeah, I think you have to use that.
Yeah,
here.
it's either gonna get spell pierced or it's just gone.
I mean, I guess you could play your Exarch instead if you wanted to, and just tap something now.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, it's the same result, right? Your spell pierce goes away.
Yeah. Maybe this way he like.
What's the advantage to playing the Exarch now?
He taps the swamp, forces it to go for the throat. Right. There's nothing.
Because you can just
His
float
opponent
the mana.
misplays. Yeah. That's the advantage. His opponent misplays.
All right. I mean, it still leaves hidden information, I guess, but not for long. Oh man, I can't quite make out the last cards in Korey's hand, but all right. So looks like Korey's just going to let his Raging Ravine get tapped, probably floating a mana.
Yeah.
And then that gets spell pierced, or rather, it takes spell pierce. And now Korey's got a mana left. And he's going to draw 4 cards. If he finds some Amoricide or Surgical Extraction, it's going to be a huge blow.
Yeah. Just name Burst Lightning at this point, probably. There's a twin an Exarch can play. Could just die.
Yeah, I would just name Splinter Twin. Then you have infinite time to deal with.
It's true.
The Pyromancer Ascension thing.
Yeah, 1 Burst Lightning is not lethal. You need the second. Having a green mana
We'll just go over it.
from floating.
Yeah, plus 1 that was floating.
He's not played a land this turn as far as I know.
Correct. And looks like he's got at least 2 lands in his hand. Now he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his turn.
Too many cards, don't know what's up.
It's a hard life when your green Planeswalker's drawing you 4 cards.
Yeah. Hard life.
Alright. Blocks there. I don't know if I like that attack with the Beast token. Because you don't want to get whittled away by a 1/4 attack. 1/4, I guess.
You can still afford one. Like, one hit doesn't actually put you to lethal range off a single Burst Lightning, so.
Let's see. Alright. There's Grim Lavamancer. And there's another Lavamancer. Double Lavamancer by Korey Fay.
This looks.
Looking good for Korey.
Jason
just
has
drew
to
a
have
blank,
it or die.
right? I'm pretty sure he just drew a blank.
Probably just very dead.
I think that's it. I was looking at the board trying to figure out what other options he has, and I think that's all the chips right there.
That's the turn. No, very, very dead.
Well, let's see. Korey's attacks for 3, 4, 5. So I think Jason can survive 1 turn if Korey doesn't activate a mana land, and then he could potentially draw Ponder and maybe do something.
How does he survive a turn if you burn down the Exarch immediately? Just double burn it right now.
Double what? Oh, double.
Kill the Exarch.
Like if Korey messes up and just attacks.
Yeah.
But I mean, he doesn't know what Jason has in his hand. But I'd probably just activate a man land, leaving up 2 red.
There's just so many things he can do to win.
Yeah, so many different plays. As long as Korey doesn't make the one play that he'll lose from, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it. And he sees it. Jason Hager goes down. Korey Fay with his Jund deck advances to the semifinals. That is exciting times.
Yeah. That deck is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very neat to see it.
Jund beats real hard.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very cool. So Jason Hager, congratulations to him with his Blue-Red Pyromancer Ascension Splinter Twin deck. Didn't quite make it out into the semifinals. Instead, tomorrow we'll be following this Jund player as he fights against a Cobblade deck in the semifinals. Who's going to win that matchup?
Well, someone with Squadron Hawk.
The Jund deck versus the Cobblade deck? Oh, I meant
I
like
thought you
Jund
meant the
versus
Cobblade
Cobblade.
mirror. I was like, what kind of question is that? I feel like the Call deck's favored, but I mean, the Jund deck's just mid-range, and the Call deck's aggro control. And the aggro control deck always beats the mid-range deck, just always.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like Ka's favored too, but I mean, this Jund deck is pulling out tricks left and right, so who knows what it could be able to manage tomorrow. I mean, you Inquisition away something.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
But just I think the cards in the call deck are just better. The only thing the Jund deck really has is that the call deck's a little reliant on cards like Hero to win. So, you can kill the Hero, you can probably have a game.
In the meantime, congratulations to Sorceries, who just won 3 months of free premium on StarCityGames.com for answering the question. Our trivia question was, which Star City Games player, grinder, comes out to all these events? We featured him in round 1. Who was he? The answer?
Drew Levin, and he was playing Pyromancer's Ascension.
How appropriate. He actually lost the first round to Cladotha Red, but came back.
Demolished round 1.
Yeah, but came back and actually put up a reasonable record in this event. So, congratulations to Sorceries for getting the question correct. You win 3 months of free premium. It should be added to your account, or you should be contacted about it within the next couple days. You should have it sometime next week. Go check out all the great content over on the premium side. All kinds of great M12 reviews happening now, all kinds of great reports, maybe reports from this very tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these players wrote about their cool new decks.
Yeah.
So it's something to keep in mind going into the next week.
And all those reports will be linked to on Star City Games by Lauren Lee at some point, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let her know that they exist, and she will do that.
Yeah, no matter what site you write for, although I guess if we're telling you now, you're probably not here in the top 8. But, no matter what site you write for, or if you just want to hear all the different reports around the net, we'll link to all of them. So, in the meantime, tomorrow, we're going to give away 6 more months of premium, plus a Gen Con badge, a badge to Gen Con, valued at about $75 or so, which is really extravagant. Gen Con is just such a cool event to go to. I'm going for my first time this year. I've heard nothing but great things. And Nationals is there. There's going to be all kinds of Magic events, other games. No matter what you're into, there's something there for any gamer.
Yeah, and even if you don't know if you're into those things, there's just boosts. You can just do whatever you want. You know, you want to try out a board game, there will be a demo booth. I guarantee it.
Like, have you ever wanted to LARP? Like, this is your chance, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to play D&D? Like, this is your chance to learn. So
it's huge.
Yeah.
When they hold the Star City in Indy and they hold it at the convention center, you're like, oh, let's go. Yeah, you have like one room, and it's this giant complex. It's like, oh, and Gen Con spills out over this entire building. It's massive.
Yeah, it is unbelievable, and it's coming up in just 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really exciting. I'm so excited to go. You guys have no idea. So I'll be seeing you guys at Gen Con. Hopefully you'll be there. At least 2 of you will win badges to go. So stay tuned, as in the finals tomorrow as we give away a Gen Con badge, as well as in the finals of the Legacy. Finals of the Standard tomorrow, as well as in the finals of the Legacy. So that should be exciting.
Do you have any updates on the other matches yet? Or
I've not received any updates on the other matches